100-year love affair with the automobile. All started with one little car, the Model T. Join us now for a battle of form.
It's definitely because I'm an artist.
Versus function.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
As the Detroit brothers and a crew of local guys.
That's how Detroit does it, baby!
Use ingenuity.
Was able to figure out a workaround, which is really key.
And creativity.
I love that stuff, though. Like going against the grain.
To build outrageous vehicles.
That's awesome.
And inspire a struggling city.
It makes me feel so warm and cozy inside.
On Motor City Motors. This week's challenge, turn a stock 1926 Model T into a street ride. They have 5 days, 5 local Detroit builders, and a city that's counting on them. If their street rod can beat a stock Model T by midnight on the 5th day, each builder takes home an economic stimulus package. $5 grand in tools from Cobalt, Bailey, Miller Welding, and Ranger.
Couldn't go any faster?
Is that like 30 horsepower day?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Sounds like it's about to fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's cut it up.
Let's rip this thing
Get to work on it.
But before it can be reborn, these custom bike builders must conceive it.
Here's a picture of the car that we have.
Right, okay.
Jamie's the artist. He drives the pencil and steers the design.
I like to push my brain to think about or imagine things that I've never seen before or I can't comprehend.
We got the engine.
We got a 521 cubic inch Ford motor for it.
We've got a Dyer supercharger.
We got a C6 trans. We got a 9-inch rear end.
Carbs in the scoop with the Zumi headers coming up.
Their little buggy will get a big block engine. But first, they have to make it fit.
Ford that we have right now,
Right.
and the T, frame rails are 19 inches. The motor's like, it's got to be close to 30 inches wide.
We'll just build a whole new frame for it. I mean, in terms of design, I mean, I'm a lot more analytical and I'm a lot more graphic. I like things a lot more industrial. I lean more towards machining and things like this.
We won't run any kind of hood or anything
Yeah,
out front. It'll
yeah.
just be the motor with the Dyer blower up top.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
So far, the plan is simple. Tear everything out of the T except for the body. Build an entirely new rolling chassis, fit it with the massive 1,000 horsepower engine, and drop the body back on top.
We're gonna run wide slicks on it, right? Right. We're gonna move the axle back to the back of the cab, show off that rear end.
Yeah.
Jamie wants to move the rear axle back behind the rear seat, giving it a more aggressive stance.
Then the body won't be covering up that rear end.
Yeah, okay.
Now there's only one hot rod design issue that needs to be figured out. To chop or not to chop?
We're gonna cut the body.
Yeah, I personally don't think we should cut the body.
I don't think.
A standard hot rod practice is to chop the body down, lowering the profile.
It's a lot of work. I mean, you make it look good.
We got about 5 days to do it, so we really got to, I mean, first thing he's got to do is run, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
That's gonna look bad as hell, man. There's gonna be a lot of people mad at us for cutting up this car.
That's okay. As long as we make history.
Yeah, it's cool. It's gonna be cool.
They've got a plan and the crew to do it.
We got the best people, like right here in Detroit. Those builders should walk out of here with the tools.
Engine expert Bruce Kimmon. Young gun fabricator Jason Huey. Welder Benny Big Mouth Marshall. Model T guru Chuck Mitchell. and mechanic Mike Platts.
So you guys obviously saw what we're starting with. We're gonna throw this big motor in it, kind of a blend of old and the newest and new technology.
All right, guys, you guys ready to do this? Yes, okay. Ready. Let's get started. It's gonna be a fun week.
The clock starts now.
There we go. Who's the big guy?
You know, I'm really happy to see you guys bringing something like this here out to Detroit.
Benny's a sheet metal worker, fabricator, and welder. But with the industry on the rocks, he's been out of the car game for 22 weeks.
In February, I sent out 36 resumes, nothing at all. It's not good. There is no more work because the auto industry is really taking a dump on us here in Detroit.
Benny may not have a job, but he's still getting his hands dirty.
I've had this car since 1994. Did a frame-off restoration on it. Still ain't done. Gotten to keep it through, you know, divorce and everything on else, so this here is actually my girl.
But Benny's Ranchero isn't the only lady in his life.
Always in a man's toolbox, he should have, you know, pictures of his child. So, this here's Jordan, my pride and joy. She got a little bunny rabbit for her birthday. Just like beautiful little kid, you know, lucky man.
$5 grand in tools could make a big difference for Benny.
Sonically happy to be here to build this ride with you guys.
It's fine by me to chop into this old lady. She don't matter much to me. I want to make her go fast. Go fast!
But not all the builders feel that way.
The Model T, it's a part of history. It put the average person on the streets. It got him to go where he wanted to go.
Chuck's got a pair of T's at home, one of which he'll pit against the team's car in 5 days.
But this is the home of our Model T. My wife's Roadster pickup, my four-door sedan, and soon-to-be Speedster. I think historically we should try to keep them as correct as can be because there's not going to be that many of them left.
But Ford manufactured 15 million Model Ts, and 250,000 are still on the road. So Chuck has nothing to worry about. Dave cuts the final bolts, and now the team can shake the body loose from the old chassis.
You ready?
There's something on it.
Watch your step. We're good.
Once the cab is set down by itself, it's obvious to Dave that a design change is in order.
It is almost an unwritten law. You have to cut the roof of the car. You got to cut it and drop it just because it's going to look so much meaner, you know? If it's just, you know, the window's, you know, that big.
It's going to add an extra day, but I don't care. We got to do it.
Engineer Dave is stepping on artist Jamie's toes by altering the design.
I personally don't think we should cut the body.
But Jamie's not here to object.
I have no idea where Jamie is. He's probably sleeping. I have no idea.
He's not sleeping. He's working, Jamie style. In a back room of the warehouse, he leaves his mark.
I really don't consider it to be any different than motorcycle design, to tell you the truth. I think it's all one. It's just different ways of expressing an idea, you know? Obviously, this isn't going to drive on the street, but in my brain, when I see a custom motorcycle, I'm just throwing shapes together and building it in my head, and I'm doing the same thing with this.
Jamie's an art school graduate who pulls inspiration for his designs from just about anywhere.
Okay, this is my dad. Hey, Dad.
Where you at?
I'm in the back of the warehouse, just painting.
You come over here.
Okay. All right. Yep, I'm just gonna finish up this outline. I'll be over. I'm I'm not on the build because there's 6 guys out there and they're taking apart just like a large go-kart.
I don't know where Jamie is. You haven't seen Jamie? You have no idea.
I just talked to him.
Is he sleeping?
Yeah, he's on his way over.
Where'd he go?
He's over, he said he's in the warehouse painting. So.
With Jamie not around to defend his design, the crew starts chopping.
We're clear.
We're clear.
We're clear.
Boys are like polar opposites. James is highly creative, uncompromising, brilliant. David, I think, he's much more technical. I mean, he can make the computer dance if he wants to.
Nice. That's cool.
Dave cutting the top like this changed the whole direction of the build in a way. I'm really particular and anal about my projects. I'm super control freak about building. I wanted to be the one to figure out the finished product. I really think these guys should have waited until I had the final say on it.
We're done?
It's late and time to call it a night. The car is now just parts. Tomorrow, they build.
We're behind for the day, but hopefully they'll get in a groove here and get it dialed in pretty soon.
Coming up on Motor City Motors.
Who's your daddy?
The build takes off, and the crew grinds on. It's day 2. Before hitting the Motor City Motors garage, the Detroit brothers stop by their shop for a reality check.
You guys have to shut down the bike shop for good. What do you guys lose? You lose your house?
We lost our houses a long time ago, Eric. Well, I don't think we can get any broker. No, I can't.
The economy is so bad, nobody's buying bikes, our part sales are way down. We have some service work, but I mean, frankly, it's not enough to pay the bills. The shop is pretty much on the verge of closing.
Tell me what's at stake personally.
We have a couple $100,000 wrapped up in it.
We did what we were supposed to do. We worked hard, we put all of our money into it, and we followed what we believed in. And all like the storybooks tell us that we're supposed to be successful. To die this kind of slow death, it just sucks.
I mean, we're at the point where it's like, if we have to keep putting money into the shop to keep it alive, at what point do we just cut it loose, I want to see the business succeed. I want to be able to get back into the shop and build bikes.
I'm definitely a kid at heart. I absolutely love building motorcycles, and I have and will do anything to keep the shop running.
But the fate of the shop can't be decided today. They've got a street rod to build, and there's only 4 days left to get it rolling. The second day begins, and engine expert Bruce has a new problem with Jamie's design.
That's not feasible. The further you move that back and the further you move that forward, you get no weight transfer. I want to move the motor maybe underneath the cowl here just a hair because of the way that the trans comes in.
So then we'll keep the rear end at the stock position.
Stock location.
Yeah.
Right.
If they stick to Jamie's design, the gasser's transmission won't engage, and the back wheels won't get traction.
I spent 2 days drawing that car up there, and I scaled it. The proportions are correct. That's how I want it to look. We agreed, my brother and my father, when we had the creative meeting, that this is what it's going to look like. We're going to move the axle back to the back of the cab.
Yeah.
It's a battle, I guess. I don't know. It's definitely because I'm an artist. Rationally, I can say, of course, it's about making the goal. It's about getting down the track. But I am unable to detach myself from making it look good. I don't know what it is.
If he has an idea, it's the best idea. And if he spent 6 hours drawing a picture of a car, then that's the way it needs to be built.
Ripping a car apart is easy, but putting it back together and realigning a chopped top is an art form.
It's an old car. As soon as you cut it, everything kind of pops. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a relief cut in right about there. about that long, just with a cutoff wheel. That's going to allow us to press that metal back in together, pinch that closed, tack it, and should scoot everything over just about 1/16 of an inch.
The guys realign and weld together the top supporting columns, AKA the pillars.
The pillars are everything. I mean, when you look at the car, you want it to look halfway decent, and you want to look like a hack job, you know what I mean? I mean, we do take a little pride in what we're doing. We don't want to just hack it and go.
For Mike, a veteran sheet metal worker and welder, looking good's important, but his real drive is the need for speed.
My passion is drag racing. If there was a funny car sitting right there, I'd jump in it and go.
Mike's been racing cars for 15 years, but started wrenching way before that.
I don't know, it started out with mini bikes and go-karts and stuff like that when I was a kid, and it just kind of progressed from there. We got our cruiser and we got our bruiser. It looks all stock, but it's not. It'll do 160 with the air conditioning on. And this one here, she does the 1/4 mile in 890s, 155. That's what it's about for me, you know. Pull the stuff apart, put it back together, making it work better than it did before. Something I was born with, I guess.
To turn the pulled-apart T into a hot rod, the next step for Mike and the team is building a longer, sturdier chassis.
It's all about metal, you know.
That's a beautiful thing. Look at that.
Let's get it evened out, and we'll get a couple of braces in there. All right.
That didn't sound good. Give it a little. Yeah, it does it. Ooh, yeah. Man, not bad, eh? Who's your old daddy?
Bring it to us this way. Flip it on up. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Oh, who welded this?
Yeah, you need to edit that part out.
Oh, yeah.
Midway through day 2, the heart of the hot rod arrives. A Ford 521 cubic inch, 700 horsepower Holbrook motor.
I should move that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Custom built for hot rodding, it's 35 times more powerful than the original engine.
What we're trying to do is get this thing to burn the tires right off. That's my point. That's what I like to do. That's a little better than that 4-cylinder.
Bruce would know. He's the owner of a racing company that specializes in putting motors together.
This is Heads Up Racing. This is where we do all our work. We do hot rods pretty much all day long, and when I run out a little hot rod work, I'm a machinist by trade, so I do lots of tool and die stuff, prototype work. I can MIG weld, TIG weld, we do it all. I mean, I don't have to send nothing out. I can do it all in-house. It's what my dad taught me when I was a little kid, to make stuff with your hands, be able to make things, because if you can, you'll never run out of work. And I've been doing it now for 40-some years, so if it wasn't no fun, I'd have got out of it a long, long time ago, let me tell you.
Before Bruce can install the engine, he'll have to wait for the crew to finish the body and mount it to the chassis.
3 days, 8 hours, and 35 minutes, is that what that is? Not much time to do a lot of stuff.
We're going to start on the roof pretty soon.
How long is that going to take?
Well, assuming we get the riveter.
About an hour?
Yeah.
It should be on here by now.
I think we just need to focus on the bare essentials. I think we need to take a look at this project and get it done.
The body work takes longer than expected. And 3 hours later, the body and frame are still apart. And the mood in the garage is dark as the Detroit night.
Hey guys, you round up. All right. So we're at the end of day 2, obviously. So we have got 3 days left to finish this. Guys, we got to fight. I mean, we're almost halfway done with this build, and we are not nearly halfway done.
Roof has been a lot of work. The chop top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need shifters, we need steering column, we need some kind of steering.
Tomorrow's a huge day.
Yeah.
At the end of day 2, I'm really feeling like there's a definite chance that this may not happen. Everybody's kind of working in their own direction, and there's not a lot of cohesion. Just, I don't know, there's not enough leadership, and I guess that's my job, or that's Jamie's job, I don't know. But, somebody definitely needs to step up at the plate, because frankly, at this point, we're just not going to get it done at this rate,
Coming up on Motor City Motors.
Kind of like we're doing everything at once.
The brothers go head-to-head.
Well, I can't do what I'm doing until you're done with what you're doing.
And a tough job gets tougher.
Sounds good. Something's wrong.
On the morning of day 3, Dave takes a detour on the way to the garage.
This was Southwest Cycle. It was a service and parts motorcycle shop. This is what happens at bike shops here, you know? It's been happening more and more. All the guys that we knew that were building bikes in and around Detroit are all closed. Everybody's closed. You want to look at here? You know, we started with a good amount of momentum, and it was going well for, you know, the first couple of years. It was going really well. Jamie and I kind of went out on a limb to do it, and it looked like it was going to be great. The last couple of years have been really hard, and you know, it's not really where we thought we'd end up. So it's kind of heartbreaking. I got a lot more bikes I want to build.
Days left, and the team has to mount the body to the frame, attach the rear and front ends, add suspension and steering, drop in the engine, and install the electrical system. Basically, everything.
Rolling chassis is the goal today?
Let's try and get it as a roller today.
We brought in one of our employees from Detroit Brothers to help us out. His name's Steve. He's a cool dude. He's a hard worker.
Let's rock.
This is going to get really intense today, I got a feeling.
Put over.
The team places the body on the frame, and even with the chopped top, Dave sees a problem.
The whole car is way too high. On this, we'll do a 6-inch Z.
6 inches will get you straight.
Dave's plan to get the body low is to Z the front of the chassis, cutting the frame and angling it up so the engine rides higher and the wheels lower.
We'll cut it here and then angle it up off this one.
Zing the frame will get the drop Dave wants, but it could cost the team 5 hours, more time than they have to spare.
I think we got to do it. It doesn't look, it's not right. I'd like to see it lower.
Not enough time to Z-part.
But Benny has another idea.
Just cut this right along the frame rail, right here.
Instead of Zing the frame, they could weld plates to the body's frame rails, then cut channels above the plates and drop the chassis in. It won't get the car as low, but it will take about half the time.
So, voila, that way you don't hit the Z-bars.
Hey, you wouldn't even see it.
No, we're not doing it. So we'll come up
with that idea.
with 45, right?
The team is split in half.
You're going to cut 27 inches out of this front
want to do it
and
like
that back.
Z it for maximum drop, adding 5 hours.
I'm on the aesthetic side. If it's just gonna go fast and look dumb, I don't want to be in it.
Or channel and save some time.
Just take the centers out and let it fall right onto that, and you got your 3 inches.
Put a little catch plate on the bottom, let it come down and sit right.
I'm all for it.
Put a tab.
Oh, you got to put a tab right on the bottom of that. And then you cut that, you cut your frame right there. You don't want to chop the frame.
The decision comes down to the Detroit brothers.
Have you seen Jamie? I want him to look at this before we pull it off.
But one of them is seeking inspiration elsewhere.
I mean, it's not like traditional graffiti, but I mean, who cares? Just paint on wall. And this is, I don't know, it's a work in progress, but I share this room with my brother and my dad, and I know they hate it when I just like start doing stuff, you know?
Dave can't wait for his brother to weigh in.
We only got 2 days to go here, boss.
Right.
So he looks to Hot Rodder Dad for some fatherly advice.
Okay, Dad, what do you think about this?
I like the simplest solution, a frame redo with 2 days and 10 hours left.
It ain't enough.
All right,
We don't have enough time.
I know it. Okay, then let's do, guys, we'll just channel the body. We'll drop it 6 inches.
Good.
The body is going to be attached to the frame right now. Let's attach it right now, and then we'll start working on it.
Frame and body, finally welding together. But the build has fallen behind schedule.
You're at the end of day 3. The rear end's sitting here with no ladder bars in it.
Everybody's a critic.
I'm not trying to slam you guys at all. If you don't have this rear suspension together and the front suspension together by tonight, come tomorrow, you're going to be in big trouble.
You gotta get the rear end mounted.
Well, hook it up.
We'll measure off. We'll get our front spindle mounts. We'll weld those things on.
Garage manager Ben's scare tactics might be just the motivation this team needs.
You get us a tranny, get us a torque converter. We'll bolt that converter to that.
With the transmission here, the 700 horsepower engine can finally be installed.
Here we go.
Slowly, this dragster is beginning to take shape.
That's what I'm talking about. Now that's a real motor.
And for some, the celebration has already started.
There's drinking. I think my brother worries about not getting it done. He's like, I'm sure he was over there busting his ass.
I don't know what happened to Jamie. Jamie cashed out a little early.
As usual, Dave's the hard-working pessimist, and Jamie's glass is always half full.
I know we're gonna get it done.
We'll throw the rear end in once he's done, and then we'll call it a night.
Dave and the builders grind on, nearly make their goal. It's a rolling chassis, minus the wheels.
This was an extraordinarily good day.
But they still have a long road ahead.
We've got trans we've got pedals to put in, we've got master cylinders, we've got brake lines to run, fuel line.
Everybody will be ready.
I think so.
The Model T, the car that put America on wheels, was born at Ford's Piquette plant in Detroit, Michigan. The prototype went into production in 1908 and was an instant success. Henry Ford's revolutionary ideas, the assembly line and standardized parts, mass-produced an affordable, reliable car that made driving the birthright of every American and launched the industry that built Detroit. With only 2 days left on the build, the Detroit brothers decide to get organized and break it all down on a whiteboard.
I think that we should just brainstorm for just 2 minutes and then kind of figure out what our priorities are, like what needs to be done right now.
You know, obviously box off the front.
And the list begins.
You know,
firewall, yeah.
Probably start the headers now, Cam.
Start the headers.
I got
Seats, brake lines.
Finish the top of the cage so you guys can put the roof on.
We got to get the radiator mounted, steering box and steering, firewall, trans tunnel.
We got to do the diagonal link.
Yep.
Steering
linkage?
And we got to
With a list this long, even Jamie is starting to get nervous.
This definitely puts the pressure on.
Hey, let's get done and get it going.
Okay.
The guys get busy. One crew on the roll cage, one mounting the transmission.
progress. Looking good.
And one on the firewall. Even Jamie is finally taking ownership of the build.
Firewall's in.
Midway through the day, the headers and silencers arrive. Steve cuts them down.
There you go.
And John helps straighten and install them.
Pipes look really good. They're really aggressive. You know, Bruce and some of the other guys think they should have been lower, you know, a little more subtle, but I like them kind of big and nasty like that. They're good.
Oh, I think they're pretty cool. Silencers to make our car quieter.
Finally, Jamie installs the silencers.
In the trash. Oh, I want it to be loud as hell.
Wheels roll in courtesy of the Coker Tire Company.
Got our wheels finally. Excellent, man. Excellent. Check those out. Some ETs.
The drive shaft arrives, delivered courtesy of Mike Cameron at CCI Driveline.
Dave, this is Mike.
Mike, how you doing?
Nice to meet you. There's your last minute deal there, buddy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That is just gorgeous. This is 32 3/8, right?
29 is. Don't mess with us like that.
The hell out of me.
The drive line connects the transmission to the rear end and will get the wheels rolling.
Everybody is working. There's no stagnation. I think today was a real productive, strong day for us.
What do you attribute all this progress to, do you think?
Honestly, I think it's the whiteboard that we made. I don't want to say it was my idea, but it was my idea. It's definitely my idea.
At the end of day 4, yet another goodie arrives. This one for the old man, the Gasser's designated driver.
Is that great?
That's awesome.
Cool, let's get
That's bad, dude.
And then let's get the seat in so we can figure out the steering.
Yeah, I don't think that's
You don't want to scoot the seat back?
Can we go up any higher, Steve? I guess this is it. It's great.
The Gasser is coming together, but it's a long way from the drag strip. Now there's only one day left and a long to-do list before the motor can spark.
V-belts and our alternator. We got none of that. From scale on 1 to 10, we're about 7. And 8, 9, and 10 is going to be huge.
Coming up on Motor City Motors.
It's going to be close.
It all comes down to this.
We're home stretch.
The race to the finish line.
It's our last day. We got about 15 hours left.
The midnight deadline is looming. The pressure's on, and 2 men are MIA.
We're missing Mike, and we're missing Benny. I'm taking it as a sign that everybody's so confident we're going to get this done, they're sleeping in. We've got a lot to do. We've got to keep our momentum up, but I think we're going to be able to get it done. Assuming the rest of our team shows up.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, what's priority? What's the best thing that we can do right now?
Final day of the build. And today's top priority is to finish installing the engine. But before the massive motor can rev,
I gotta wire this whole thing. I've never hooked up this kind of ignition before. It's all right, it's just like a big motorcycle, right? How different can it be?
We got the power. We're gonna have the starter. We're gonna have the fuel, pumps, control panel, and all that sexy stuff.
with 2 men MIA, Dave needs all the help he can get. But it won't be coming from Jamie, who's bucking the list and starting his own project.
Making a brace for the roll cage, basically connecting the roll cage into the front of the frame. Done some of this tubing, cut some holes here in the cowl.
You guys got no more here?
The run in there, right? The more down it, the better. That's how I feel.
Drill go.
I gotta get wiring this thing like prontissimo. So if you get a weld into here.
I'm working on it.
Well, I know. Is it gonna fit or not?
Don't worry about it. Just do what you're doing, and I'll do what I'm doing.
I can't do what I'm doing until you're done with what you're doing.
Oh, look out, folks!
This is typical Jamie. Just like last minute, he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do some like weird bars. And everybody's just gotta like stop what they're doing and wait until he finishes it. It's just typical. You're gonna burn my wires, Jamie. You're gonna burn these wires, man.
Cover them up here. There's a wet towel. Cover it up. And the problem is that we only have a certain amount of time to get this whole thing done, and it's kind of like we're doing everything at once. My brother's gonna tweak out in a minute.
Two and a half hours into the day.
Good.
Benny and Mike roll in.
Oh, last night, Dave.
Thanks for coming in, guys. You really know how to play it. I like it. It must mean you're pretty confident.
Mike was nice enough to let me stay at his humble abode last night. As far out as he lives, traffic 75 was way messed up.
It was traffic at 2 in the morning on the way home from the bar. This is Detroit. There's not that many people doing that much stuff.
Yeah, I took the same road. I must have just weaseled right through. I don't know.
The last piece of the engine is mounted. An 871 root-style blower, adding an extra 300 horsepower to the engine. Grand total, 1,000 horsepower.
That's what I'm talking about.
But if Dave botches the wiring, the engine is nothing more than an 800-pound paperweight.
We just got to make sure Mr. Dave did all his wiring right on the starter, and life is good.
We can't turn it over, can we?
Yeah.
Can we try it?
Dave's moment of truth.
That part, all the way back. We can just hit the test relay, and it basically just runs it just for a second, and that's what we want for the starter. Oh yeah. That's how I roll. Bravo for me, huh?
And now for the real test.
Fueling her up. All right, everybody awake?
Gassed up and ready to go. It's time to fire the engine.
Okay.
It's gonna be close.
My power's good.
Something's wrong.
Straight shooting.
You got a problem up there.
I don't run. Okay.
The Motor City Motors crew has torn apart a Model T, built an entirely new rolling chassis, and installed a 1,000 horsepower engine. But if all their creative changes keep the motor from starting, chalk up the first failure for the Detroit brothers.
Let me, hold on, let me loosen this up and I'll turn it.
You ready?
And it touches there, and it's touching here. I mean, we got 3 spots that are hitting.
The distributor cap has got these nodes that come off it, and the spark plugs fit into that. The problem is where we need the distributor to be, it's hitting one of the manifolds on the engine. They were grinding down the spark plug probe or connector, to fit in there a little tighter.
To make room for the blocked manifold, Bruce will trim the spark plug connectors. With only 2 hours left.
A little tighter. What do you need?
Needle nose?
Needle nose?
The team, as well as the entire Detroit Brothers family, gather to see if Bruce's workaround does the trick.
You got that thing tightened down, Bruce?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah. Okay, let's try this again. Take away from the battery. Just fuel pump. Just pop it. Just hit it. Come on, easy, easy. Come on. Power and hit it.
That was amazing.
It's nice work, Bruce. You did an awesome job.
All right, guys. So to really finish this for today, we got to get the roof on, we got to put the windows in, we got to drive it.
It's a sprint to the finish to get the car done with only 40 minutes left.
We're home stretch.
Front glass.
And once again, the artist is at work.
Bolts are little spikes. They're gonna go on those tubes that I made. That nobody wanted me to make. This car's got this super badass attitude. It's all hopped up. It's got this really killer motor. The interior's raw and basic. And then you look at this, the outside and you see these perfectly clean windows. But if I was going to tap it right here, do that.
Why did you do that?
Because I like the way it looks.
Looks good. I like it. It's great. Yeah.
The glass is in, the roof is on. And with only minutes left on the clock, they set up the final test, burning it against Chuck, the Model T Man's vintage 28. But the brothers can't resist one last modification, the scoop. A flow to the blower, courtesy the Detroit News.
Yeah, man, we're 100%. We won every single one.
Good job. All right, Chuck.
With a successful build in the books, each one of these proud metal craftsmen will get a Cobalt 41-inch tool chest and 227-piece socket set, a Bailey Industrial bandsaw, a Miller-Matic 211 MIG welder from Miller Welding, power tools from Porter Cable, and a floor jack from Ranger. Total value of the package, $5,000.
Yeah, really nice.
Great job, guys.
A win for the Detroit brothers, but an even bigger win for the 5 builders, who now have the tools to help rebuild Detroit. Racing in a garage is one thing. Now it's time for the real deal. The Dragster arrives at the track for its first true test against the 500 horsepower Ford GT.
I'm about to try to do a quarter in about 11 seconds.
I'm a little nervous. You know, I know we did a good job building it, but it's a pretty fast car.
I just don't want to see him flip it over. I'm excited, though. I'm excited to see it run.
Okay, up now to Motor City Motors. Look for this show, Discovery Channel. Car built from a stock 26 Model T. 5 guys, 5 days.
There we go.
Whoa, Jamie. Wow.
The GT beats the T to the finish.
Pretty good.
But the build's still a win for the Detroit brothers.
Looks awesome going on the track. Looks mean as hell.
I'm happy it stays straight, too.
I think it turned out really well. The first build is like a massive success. Not only did we get the build done and it was a cool project, but those guys pulled it off and we were able to give them those tools.
Being able to walk into a project, make that project happen, no matter what.
Just to show people what we can do. I think that's what it's all about. And it just reminded me of how great Detroit really is and how great it's going to be. Gave me hope and belief in what we're doing.